There are 7 psychological traits that make women completely obsessed with certain men. And I'm not talking about looks, money, or status. I'm talking about invisible triggers that flip a switch in her brain and make her see you as the prize she needs to chase. Most guys do the exact opposite of these traits, which is why they watch women lose interest and slip away. But when you master even just 3 of these, something incredible happens. She stops being politely interested and starts being desperately curious. She stops answering your texts out of courtesy and starts refreshing her phone waiting for them. She stops seeing you as another option and starts seeing you as the one she can't afford to lose. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what these 7 traits are, the psychology behind why they're so powerful, and how to use them even if you've been doing everything wrong up until now. But first, I'm going to tell you the moment I discovered these traits existed, and how learning them saved me from becoming another casualty in the modern dating scene. Look, in a world where even average-looking women have endless options lined up on dating apps, how do you actually stand out? How do you stop being just another guy in her rotation? How do you become her priority instead of her backup plan? Most men think attraction is about perfect conversation, expensive dates, or constantly showing how much you care. They think being the good guy, always available, always agreeable, always accommodating is the path to her heart. But here's what nobody tells you. Those behaviors don't create attraction. They kill it. Because attraction isn't logical, it's psychological. And women's brains are wired to chase men who display specific traits that signal high value and genetic fitness. These 7 traits I'm about to reveal trigger something primal in her psychology. They make her think about you when you're not around, crave your attention when you're not giving it, and fight to lock you down instead of looking for someone better. I learned this the hard way when I was 28 and thought I had dating figured out. Here's the first trait. Trait number 1. Be comfortable with tension. I was at this house party last year, and I witnessed something that completely changed how I understood attraction. This woman, let's call her Ashley, walks up to this guy named Ryan and just kisses him. Out of nowhere. Bold move, right? Now, most guys would immediately start asking questions. What was that for? Do you like me? Where is this going? But Ryan? He just smiled, looked her in the eyes, and said nothing. For what felt like an eternity. Ashley's entire energy shifted. She went from confident to curious, from in control to completely hooked. She spent the rest of the night trying to get his attention. Female psychology lesson number 1. Here's what happened in her brain. When Ryan stayed calm in that tense moment, it triggered her attraction system. Tension isn't a problem to be solved, it's electricity that needs to be maintained. Trait number 1 is your ability to not just handle tension, but to be comfortable with it. That's silence after eye contact. The uncertainty between she likes me and I have no idea what she's thinking. The gray area where you both know something's happening but neither of you is saying it. When you can sit in that tension without panicking, without over-explaining, without immediately seeking reassurance, it makes her feel butterflies. Anticipation. Curiosity. It tells her, this guy has been here before. He's experienced. He's not nervous. But staying calm in tension is just the first trait. The second one is what actually makes her body respond to you on a primal level. Trait number 2, desire over affection. Here's where most guys get it completely wrong. They think showing affection is the same as showing attraction. You're so sweet, I really enjoy spending time with you, you make me feel so comfortable. But affection is what you give your sister. Desire is what makes her feel like a woman. I remember watching this guy at a restaurant last month, clearly on a first date. He's sitting there telling this woman how much he respects her mind, how comfortable she makes him feel, how he's never met someone so easy to talk to. And I'm watching her face just shut down. She's giving polite smiles, but you can see her mentally checking out. Because he's making her feel like a therapist, not a woman he wants to ravish. Meanwhile, at the next table, there's this other couple. The guy leans in mid-conversation and says, I'm having trouble focusing on what you're saying because you look incredible in that dress. Then he goes right back to the conversation. Her entire body language changed. She sat up straighter, started playing with her hair, leaned in closer. That's the power of desire. Female psychology lesson number 2. Here's the science. Women have 2 different neurological pathways for men. The comfort pathway, friends, emotional support, and the desire pathway, attraction, sexual tension. Once you're in the comfort pathway, it's nearly impossible to switch tracks. Trait number 2 is letting her feel your desire for her specifically. Not generic male horniness, but your masculine energy choosing her. The way your eyes linger on her. The way your touch becomes more intentional. The way she can feel that she's affecting you. But showing desire is dangerous if you don't have the 3rd trait locked down. Because without it, desire becomes desperation. Trait number 3, unpredictable fun. Most guys think be fun means tell jokes and keep things light. They become the dancing monkey, the entertainer, always trying to make her laugh and keep her happy. I knew this guy, let's call him Mike, who went on what he thought was the perfect date. She laughed at everything he said. Even told him, "You're so funny." He thought he'd nailed it. She never responded to his follow-up text. But because funny isn't the same as exciting. Predictable entertainment isn't the same as addictive unpredictability. Real fun isn't about jokes. It's about emotional spikes. It's about her never knowing what you're going to do next. Think about the guys women call jerks, but can't stop chasing. They're not doing stand-up comedy. They're being spontaneous, challenging, breaking the script. Like the guy who, in the middle of his date telling him a story, suddenly stops her mid-sentence, pulls her close and says, "Sorry, you just look too good not to kiss right now." Okay, finish your story. That's unpredictable. That's the kind of moment she'll replay in her head for weeks. Female psychology lesson number 3. Here's what's happening. Predictability triggers her comfort system, safe but boring. Unpredictability triggers her excitement system, the same neurological pathways as gambling, roller coasters, and addiction. Trait number 3 is creating emotional spikes through unpredictability. Not chaos, but calculated spontaneity. Playful teasing. Surprising escalation. Moments where she thinks, "I can't believe he just did that." But unpredictability without the 4th trait just makes you seem unstable. You need something that shows her you're going somewhere. Trait number 4. Authentic ambition. Every guy says he has big plans. I'm working on something. One day I'm going to... Meanwhile, the only thing he's been working on for 6 months is his Netflix algorithm and his food delivery app rotation. I was at a gym once and overheard this conversation. This guy is telling this woman about his startup idea for the 3rd different startup this month. She's nodding politely, but you can see in her eyes she's thinking, another talker. 2 machines over, there's another guy. Woman asks what he does. He says, "I'm building an app that helps people find dog-friendly hiking trails. Just hit 10,000 downloads last month." No big claims, just quiet progress. Guess which guy she gave her number to? Female psychology lesson number 4. Here's the psychology. Women are evolutionarily programmed to be attracted to men who can provide and protect. But in modern terms, that translates to, is this man going somewhere? Can I respect his mission? Do I want to be part of his journey? She doesn't want to be your journey. She wants to join your journey. She wants to feel like she's the sexy co-pilot to your mission, not the mission itself. I have a client who's a personal trainer. Nothing fancy, he trains people at a local gym. But when women ask what he does, he says, "I help people become the strongest version of themselves. Just helped a 50-year-old woman deadlift her body weight for the first time last week." He's not bragging about making millions. He's showing passion, purpose, and progress. That's infinitely more attractive than empty promises about future success. Trait number 4 is having authentic forward momentum. Not just dreams, but evidence that you're building something. She needs to feel that you're the star quarterback of your own life, and she gets to be the cheerleader rooting for your success. But here's where most ambitious guys screw up. They think showing ambition means making her part of the plan immediately. Fatal mistake. Trait number 5. Unshakable autonomy. Here's the pattern that kills more relationships than cheating. Guy meets girl. Within a week, his entire world revolves around her. His gym sessions get skipped. His friends get ignored. His hobbies get abandoned. His happiness depends entirely on her mood. I watched this happen to a friend recently. He met this woman on Bumble, and by week 2, he'd canceled his standing poker game with the guys 3 times. By week 3, he was asking me to cover his shifts at work so he could spend more time with her. She dumped him via text after a month. Her exact words, "You're too available. I need someone with their own life." Female psychology lesson number 5. Here's the psychology: when you make her your whole world, you don't make her feel special, you make her feel trapped. Because suddenly she's responsible for your happiness, and that's a terrifying burden no woman wants. Trait number 5 is living where your happiness, direction, and purpose don't depend on her approval. You like her, you're attracted to her, but you're moving forward with or without her. Autonomy triggers something primal in women. They're drawn to men who don't need them to feel complete. When she senses you could walk away at any moment, she invests more energy to keep you interested. The most successful guy I know with women has this rule: she can join my world, but I'm not stopping my world for anyone. He's been with his girlfriend for 2 years, and she still gets excited when he makes time for her because his time feels valuable. But here's what separates the men women chase from the men women use: boundaries. And most guys have absolutely none. Trait number 6, iron boundaries. Most men have 0 boundaries. They're like golden retrievers with wallets. You can treat them however you want and they'll still come back wagging their tails, asking when they can see you again. I know a guy who had a woman cancel on him last minute 4 times in a row. Each time, he responded with, "No worries. When works better for you." By the 5th cancellation, she wasn't even giving him reasons anymore. Just, "Can't make it tonight." Here's what women are really doing. They're testing your self-respect. Not because they're evil, but because they need to know if you actually value yourself. If you don't value yourself, how can they value you? Female psychology lesson number 6. The testing mechanism. Women will push boundaries to see what you'll tolerate. Show up late. Be on their phone during dates. Cancel last minute. Give you attitude. They're not trying to be difficult. They're trying to see if you're the kind of man who commands respect. Trait number 6 is calmly enforcing what you will and won't accept. Not with drama, not with anger, but with quiet confidence. She shows up late? I value punctuality. Next time we'll need to adjust. She's on her phone? Am I boring you, or is there somewhere else you'd rather be? When you enforce boundaries, you send a clear signal. I value myself. I have standards. I'm not desperate for female attention. And that makes her respect you because women are wired to chase men who don't need them to survive. I watched a guy handle this perfectly last month. His date showed up 20 minutes late with no apology, just, "Sorry, traffic." He smiled and said, "No problem. I actually only have about an hour now though." No drama, no lecture, just a natural consequence. She spent the rest of the date trying to extend it, suggesting they go somewhere else after dinner. But because she realized his time wasn't unlimited and free. But all of these traits are worthless if you don't have the 7th and most powerful trait. The one that makes everything else possible. Trait number 7. The abundance mindset. Here's the biggest attraction killer in modern dating. Scarcity mindset. You match with one woman on a dating app and suddenly you're acting like you just won the lottery. She takes 3 hours to text back and you're pacing around wondering what you did wrong. Scarcity makes men do insane things. Spend thousands trying to win back women who barely know they exist. Chase women who treat them like garbage because they think it's their only option. Text novels when she gives one-word responses. I know guys who will research iPhone cases for hours, reading every review, But when it comes to their dating life, it's, I'll figure it out later. They'll spend weeks analyzing fantasy football stats but can't invest a weekend learning how attraction actually works. Female Psychology Lesson Number 7. Here's the psychology. Women have unlimited options. Dating apps give them access to hundreds of men instantly. So when you act like she's your only chance, she automatically assumes you're low value. Because men with options don't chase. Men with options don't panic over delayed texts. Men with options don't tolerate bad behavior. Trait number 7 is the energy that says, my life is full with or without you. Not because you're dating multiple women necessarily, but because you genuinely have options, interests, and a life that doesn't revolve around female validation. When she senses you have options, when she feels you could walk away, when she realizes you won't tolerate mediocre treatment, she assumes you're high status. And high-status men are what women's brains are programmed to chase. A man in scarcity plays not to lose. A man in abundance plays to win. And women can feel the difference from across the room. Now, developing these traits naturally can take years of painful trial and error. But there's a faster way. 3 years ago, I was the poster child for everything not to do. I was that guy who made women his entire world, who had zero boundaries, who panicked at the first sign of tension. I was seeing this incredible woman, let's call her Lisa. 8 months in, and I was convinced she was the one. I'd already mentally planned our future together. Then one Tuesday night, she came over and said those relationship-ending words, "We need to talk." "You're amazing," she said. "You're kind, thoughtful, you'd make someone really happy. But I don't feel the spark anymore. You make me feel safe, but I need more excitement." Then came the knife twist. "There's this guy at work. He's not as nice as you. Actually, he's kind of an ass sometimes. But I can't stop thinking about him. When I'm with him, I never know what's going to happen next." She was describing everything I thought made me a good boyfriend as the reasons she was leaving me. My availability, my agreeableness, my predictability, all attraction killers. What I learned: women don't want to solve you like a simple equation. They want to be intrigued by you like a complex puzzle. When you're too easy to figure out, too easy to control, too easy to take for granted, you become boring. But what happened next forced me to learn these 7 traits the hard way. After Lisa, I made a decision. I was going to figure out what actually creates attraction, not what I thought should create attraction. First, I learned to be comfortable with tension. When conversations got awkward, instead of rushing to fill the silence, I just smile and wait. When women tested me, instead of immediately reassuring them, I'd let them sit in the uncertainty. Women started responding differently. They'd lean in during those silent moments instead of pulling away. They'd invest more energy in getting my approval instead of taking it for granted. I stopped hiding my desire behind safe affection. When I was attracted to someone, I let them feel it. Not through desperation, but through confident masculine energy. "You look incredible tonight," instead of, "You seem really nice." I became unpredictable without being unstable. Spontaneous date ideas. Playful challenges. And I stopped talking about my big plans and started living them. Every day I was building something, learning something, growing something. I developed autonomy. My happiness stopped depending on female approval. And I enforced boundaries. Late? Disrespectful? Called out. Bad behavior? Not tolerated. Most importantly, I developed abundance. Not by dating multiple women, but by becoming the kind of man women want to date. By having options, interests, and a mission that existed with or without romantic success. But the real test came 6 months later when I ran into Lisa again. I'm at the grocery store, randomly buying protein powder and vegetables, when I hear my name. I turn around and there's Lisa. Looking exactly as beautiful as the day she broke my heart. We chat for a few minutes. Surface level stuff. But I can see her studying me, trying to figure something out. "You seem different," she says. "More confident. Are you seeing someone?" "I am actually," I say. No elaboration, no gushing, no trying to make her jealous. Just a simple acknowledgement. The look that crossed her face. It was like she just realized she'd thrown away something valuable. That's great, she stammered. I actually broke up with that guy from work. Turns out he really was an ass. There was this pause, this moment of tension. The old me would have immediately offered comfort, suggested we catch up over coffee. Instead, I just nodded and said, well, I should get going. Have a good day, Lisa. Then I walked away. She texted 2 days later, hey, I keep thinking about running into you. You seem really happy. Maybe we could grab coffee sometime? 6 months earlier, I would have dropped everything. This was my chance to get her back. Instead, I waited 6 hours to respond, thanks, but I'm in a good place right now. Take care. When I was available, desperate, revolving my life around her, she couldn't wait to get away. But the moment I became unavailable, the moment I had standards and options, suddenly I became interesting again. But guys, this story isn't just about getting an ex back. It's about understanding female psychology at such a deep level that you become irresistible to the right women. Here's what most men don't understand about female attraction. It's not about being perfect. It's about being polarizing. Women would rather feel something intense, even if it's occasionally frustrating, than feel nothing at all. When you embody these 7 traits, you trigger multiple attraction systems in her brain simultaneously. Comfort with tension signals emotional strength and sexual experience. Desire over affection activates her feminine polarity and makes her feel chosen. Unpredictable fun triggers her reward system and creates psychological addiction. Authentic ambition activates her provider assessment mechanism and future planning instincts. Autonomy eliminates her suffocation response and makes investment feel voluntary. Iron boundaries triggers respect and communicates high self-value. Abundance mindset activates her competition instincts and scarcity fear. When all 7 work together, something powerful happens. You stop being the guy she settles for and become the guy she fights to keep. You stop being her backup plan and become her obsession. That woman I'm seeing now? Her name is Rachel. And she tells me all the time how different I am from other guys she's dated. You don't need me, she says, but you want me. And that makes all the difference. But learning these traits through trial and error like I did? It's painful and takes forever. That's why I want to tell you about something that can accelerate your transformation. Look, I spent 7 years figuring this out the hard way. Watching women lose interest. Analyzing every failed interaction. Slowly piecing together what actually creates attraction versus what we think creates attraction. You don't have to go through that pain. You don't have to watch the woman you want slip away because you couldn't figure out the game in time. You don't have to spend years wondering why women lose interest when you're giving them everything they say they want. Because here's the thing, knowing these 7 traits isn't enough. Most guys read about this stuff and think they get it, but then they go on a date and immediately revert to their old patterns. Because changing behavior requires more than just information. You need a system. A step-by-step process that rewires your default responses and teaches you to embody these traits naturally, automatically, without having to think about it. That's why I want to tell you about how I finally stopped being the friend zone guy without changing my personality. This isn't just another dating course. This is something completely different. See, after going through this painful journey myself, after watching countless men make the same mistakes I made with Lisa, I realized something profound. Most men don't need to change who they are. They need to change how they show up. With one simple move, you can stop losing women that initially liked you because you couldn't play the game. Re-enter the dating scene with confidence at any age. Pass each and every one of women's secret tests. The Scrambler is the only system that combines eliminating the nice guy behavior ingrained in so many men with the most cutting-edge discoveries of modern psychology. It doesn't just tell you what to do, it rewires how you think. So you can gain the attraction of women, project personal power, and avoid the let's just be friends speech for good. Because here's the brutal reality. While you're figuring this out through trial and error, women are on dating apps with unlimited options. Every day you wait is another day of missed opportunities, another woman who might have been perfect for you moving on to someone who already gets it. You could spend the next 7 years like I did, getting your heart broken, watching women choose other guys, wondering why you keep ending up in the friend zone. Or you could learn from my mistakes and shortcut the entire process. The choice is yours, but let me tell you what's waiting for you when you make the right decision. Imagine walking into any room and knowing, not hoping, but knowing that you have the traits women find irresistible. Imagine being the guy she thinks about when she's alone, the one she brags about to her friends, the one she's terrified of losing. Imagine never again having to wonder if she's losing interest. Never again getting the "you're such a good friend" speech. Never again watching her choose someone else while you're left wondering what he has that you don't. Because the truth is, these 7 traits aren't optional in today's dating world. They're essential. Women's standards have never been higher, their options have never been more abundant, and their patience for men who don't get it has never been lower. Right now, you have a choice. You can keep doing what you've always done and hope for different results. Or you can learn the system that transforms nice guys into the men women obsess over. Remember what Lisa said to me, "I need someone who creates excitement, not comfort." Don't let that be the epitaph of your dating life. The scrambler is the difference between being the man women leave and the man women chase. Between being her backup plan and being her obsession. Between settling for whoever will have you and choosing from women who are fighting for your attention. Click the link below right now. Because every day you wait is another day of being overlooked while other men who understand these 7 traits, get the women you want. Your future self will thank you. But more importantly, the women in your life will never see you the same way again. Click the link below and stop being the friend zone guy for good.